For years, Wang Leehom was seen as the golden boy of Asian entertainment. A musical genius, a cultural bridge between East and West, and a model public figure, he seemed untouchable. But behind the polished image was a reality far more complicated. From his meteoric rise to his devastating fall following a shocking divorce scandal, Wang's story is a reminder that even the brightest stars can crash hard. Today, we dive deep into the journey of a man once beloved by millions, now fighting to rebuild his life. Stay tuned and don't forget to hit subscribe for more real stories. Wang Leehom was born in 1976 in Rochester, New York, into a family that placed a strong emphasis on both education and tradition. Growing up as a Taiwanese American, he was raised in an environment that valued cultural roots, and he developed a love for music early on. It was clear from a young age that he had a natural talent for it, mastering instruments like the violin, piano, and guitar while still in his teens. His upbringing combined the typical American lifestyle with an appreciation for his Chinese heritage, something that would later define his music career in a way few others had ever achieved. After graduating from high school, Wang attended Williams College, where he initially majored in pre-med before eventually switching to music. It was a bold move, given the traditional expectations of his family, but it would prove to be the right one. His academic journey did not stop there. He continued his formal music education at the prestigious Berklee College of Music, sharpening his skills in composition and production. By the time he graduated, Wang was not just a talented performer, but a well-rounded musician with the ability to write, arrange, and produce his own work. Wang's professional music career began in the mid-1990s when he signed his first record deal in Taiwan. His early albums showed promise, but it was not until the release of Revolution in 1998 that he truly exploded onto the Asian pop music scene. The album combined Western pop sensibilities with Mandarin lyrics, creating a sound that felt both fresh and authentic. His boyish good looks and American upbringing made him stand out in the Taiwanese music industry, and fans quickly fell in love with his wholesome image. To many, Wang was not just a singer, he represented the best of East and West, a bridge between cultures at a time when globalization was accelerating. Over the next decade, Wang solidified his position as one of the biggest pop stars in Asia. He was not content to simply produce cookie-cutter pop songs. He delved into exploring traditional Chinese musical elements, incorporating instruments like the erhu and pipa into modern R&B tracks. His 2005 album Heroes of Earth became a landmark work, praised for its innovative blend of ancient Chinese music with contemporary pop and hip-hop rhythms. Critics admired his creativity, and fans appreciated his ability to make traditional sounds feel cool and modern. While his music career soared, Wang also made significant inroads into acting. His most notable film role came in 2007 when he starred in Ang Lee's Lust Caution, a critically acclaimed movie set in World War II era Shanghai. Although his role was relatively small compared to the film's leads, his participation in such a high-profile project further elevated his status in the entertainment industry. Directors saw in him a rare combination of charisma, discipline, and genuine acting chops. Throughout the 2000s and into the 2010s, Wang maintained a spotless public image. In an industry often plagued by scandals and gossip, he remained scandal-free, which only endeared him more to the public. He was frequently described in the media as a model son-in-law, a polite, well-educated, talented young man that any parent would be proud to have in the family. His bilingual abilities and clean reputation made him a highly sought-after brand ambassador, leading to lucrative endorsement deals with major companies across Asia. Unlike many pop stars whose careers eventually plateau or fall victim to controversy, Wang seemed untouchable. He continued producing albums that sold well, embarked on sold-out world tours, and even directed his own film, Love in Disguise, in 2010, which he also starred in. While not a critical darling, the movie was a commercial success, and showed that Wang was willing to expand his artistic horizons beyond just singing and songwriting. In his personal life, Wang kept things relatively private. He was rarely spotted at nightclubs or involved in tabloid fodder, further reinforcing his image as a hard-working and family-oriented individual. When news eventually broke in 2013 that he had quietly married Lee Jinglei, a woman 10 years his junior, it seemed to fit perfectly with the public's perception of him. Their marriage announcement was low-key, respectful, and received warmly by fans and the general public alike. During these years, Wang appeared to have it all. He was a top-selling artist, an actor with a respectable filmography, a husband, and later a father to 3 children. In an entertainment world where celebrity meltdowns and scandals often dominate headlines, Wang's life seemed almost too perfect. To many observers, he embodied the ideal of an international Asian superstar, balancing fame, artistry, and family life with grace and discipline. By the late 2000s and 10s, even as newer generations of pop stars began to emerge, Wang's influence remained strong. He continued to draw large crowds to his concerts and enjoyed a level of cross-generational appeal that few others could match. Parents and young people alike admired him. His reputation, meticulously built over 2 decades, seemed rock solid. To both his fans and the industry, Wang Leehom was more than a pop singer. He was an institution, a symbol of success, integrity, and cultural pride. Yet under the surface, cracks had already begun to form, hidden from the public eye. Behind the bright stage lights and glowing media coverage, complexities in Wang's personal life were quietly brewing, setting the stage for a collapse no one could have foreseen. For now, though, in the eyes of the world, Wang Leehom remained the golden boy of Chinese pop, untouchable and admired, riding high on a career that seemed to have no limits. The illusion of Wang Leehom's perfect life came crashing down in December 2021. In what seemed like a simple announcement at first, Wang posted a message on social media revealing that he and his wife, Lee Jinglei, had divorced after 8 years of marriage. At the time, fans expressed their sadness but largely remained supportive, seeing it as a private matter. However, within days, the story took a shocking and ugly turn that would completely shatter Wang's carefully maintained public image. Lee Jinglei responded to Wang's divorce announcement by posting a lengthy, detailed open letter accusing him of a laundry list of betrayals and abuses. She alleged that Wang had been unfaithful throughout their marriage, maintaining multiple sexual relationships with various women, including some who were considered part of his professional circle. According to Lee, he had even solicited prostitutes during their relationship. The image of Wang as a clean-cut, respectful family man immediately evaporated as the accusations gained traction across Chinese-speaking media and social platforms. What made the situation even more damaging was the specificity and emotional depth of Lee's letter. She painted a vivid picture of a man who had pressured her into marriage when she became pregnant, only to treat her as a birth-giving tool once they were wed. She described years of emotional manipulation, isolation from friends and family, and an existence defined by loneliness and pain. Lee's account resonated with millions of women across Asia who recognized in her story a familiar pattern of mistreatment hidden beneath the surface of seemingly perfect marriages. Public reaction was swift and brutal. Brands that had once proudly displayed Wang's image in their advertisements rushed to cut ties with him. Infiniti, Chow Tai Seng, and other major companies pulled their endorsements within hours of Lee's post going viral. Wang's reputation, which had been nearly flawless for over 2 decades, disintegrated almost overnight. Fans expressed feelings of betrayal, while broader discussions about women's rights, emotional abuse, and marriage dynamics exploded across social media. At first, Wang's response only made things worse. His initial statements were vague and defensive, suggesting that the couple had simply grown apart without addressing the serious allegations Lee had made. Many saw his refusal to engage with the substance of her claims as a sign of guilt. Faced with mounting pressure, Wang eventually issued a public apology, acknowledging that he had failed as a husband and a father. He promised to step away from public life temporarily to focus on his family responsibilities and personal growth. Behind the scenes, the legal battle between Wang and Lee grew even more intense. There were disputes over custody of their 3 young children, division of property, and accusations of financial manipulation. In an attempt to reach a settlement, Wang offered to transfer a multi-million-dollar luxury property in Taipei to Lee. However, Lee rejected the offer, stating that material compensation could not replace a sincere apology and true recognition of the harm done to her and their children. For Lee, the issue was never about money, but about dignity, justice, and setting the record straight for herself and other women who had suffered similar fates. As court proceedings continued, conflicting narratives emerged. Wang's legal team claimed that the divorce had been finalized in a U.S. court without fault assigned to either party. Lee's representatives countered by stating that the court had indeed found Wang at fault and had ordered him to cover her legal fees. Each side accused the other of manipulating the truth, creating a chaotic media environment where rumors and half-truths flew faster than verified facts. The emotional toll on Wang was clear. He disappeared almost completely from the public eye for most of 2022. No concerts, no new music releases, no public appearances. A man once celebrated for his tireless work ethic and constant creative output had gone silent. Fans who had once waited eagerly for his next project were left wondering if his career was effectively over. Meanwhile, Lee became a symbol for many advocates pushing for greater awareness of emotional abuse, marital coercion, and the systemic silencing of women's voices. The divorce scandal also had broader implications for the entertainment industry. Other celebrities came under renewed scrutiny for their personal behavior, and audiences became less willing to separate the artist from the person behind the public persona. Wang's fall from grace became a cautionary tale, a reminder that no amount of fame, talent, or goodwill could shield someone from accountability when serious allegations surfaced. By late 2022, whispers of a potential comeback began to circulate, but the atmosphere remained tense. Some of Wang's most loyal fans continued to defend him, arguing that the public should separate his personal mistakes from his musical contributions. Others felt that his apology was insufficient, and that he had yet to truly demonstrate meaningful growth or repentance. In an industry where image is everything, rebuilding trust would prove far more difficult than simply releasing a new album or staging a comeback tour. As the year ended, it became clear that Wang Leehom's life had been permanently divided into 2 eras, before the scandal and after it. No matter what he achieved going forward, the revelations of 2021 would always be a defining chapter in his story. The man who once symbolized the perfect fusion of East and West, of talent and integrity, had been exposed as deeply flawed, struggling not only with public judgment, but with the private consequences of his own actions. Whether or not he could ever fully recover remained an open question, but one thing was certain. The golden boy image that had once defined Wang Leehom was gone, perhaps forever. As 2023 began, Wang Leehom re-emerged from his year-long silence with an attempt to restart his career. He announced a concert in Las Vegas, a symbolic move to test the waters away from the critical and often unforgiving Asian media landscape. For the first time since the scandal broke, he stood on stage in front of an audience, guitar in hand, singing the songs that once made him a beloved icon. To some fans, it felt like the return of a long-lost friend. To others, it was a sharp reminder that the entertainment world often offers redemption to male celebrities far quicker than to their female counterparts. The reaction to Wang's comeback was sharply divided. Loyal supporters, many of whom had grown up with his music, welcomed him back warmly. They argued that personal failings should not erase his artistic achievements, and that he had suffered enough through public humiliation and career loss. They pointed to his musical contributions, his cross-cultural influence, and the inspiration he had provided to a generation of young Asian artists. On the other hand, critics felt that Wang had not done nearly enough to earn forgiveness. They pointed out that he had never directly addressed many of the specific allegations made by Li Jinglei, and argued that his comeback felt premature and tone-deaf, especially given the broader conversations about women's rights and emotional abuse that his scandal had sparked. Meanwhile, the legal battles between Wang and Li continued. The divorce may have been finalized, but the custody arrangement for their 3 children remained a flashpoint. In May 2023, both appeared in a Taipei court to resolve disputes over visitation rights. Reports indicated that Li had allegedly restricted Wang's access to the children, despite prior agreements that were supposed to allow regular contact. The hearing was tense and heavily covered by local media, with images of Wang entering court looking noticeably thinner and more solemn than in his superstar days. For Wang, these court appearances were about more than just securing time with his children. They were a public reminder that no matter how much he wanted to move forward with his career, the consequences of his past actions were still unfolding in real time. Every step he took to rebuild his image was shadowed by the unresolved emotions and legal complexities of his family life. Even in his comeback interviews and public statements, Wang carefully avoided speaking too much about the scandal, focusing instead on his music and his hope to be a good father. But the public had not forgotten, and many remained skeptical. A major turning point came later in 2023 when a Beijing court issued a ruling related to Wang's frozen company assets. The court found that there was insufficient evidence to uphold some of the financial allegations Li had made against him during their divorce proceedings. This led to the unfreezing of his business operations in mainland China, a crucial step in restoring some measure of stability to his career. Wang's supporters seized on the ruling as proof that he had been unfairly maligned, arguing that much of the initial outrage had been based on emotional testimony rather than hard facts. Still, the court's decision did not erase the damage to Wang's brand. Even with legal victories, public sentiment is a different kind of battlefield, one not so easily swayed by court documents or legal technicalities. Major brands remained cautious. There were no new endorsement deals on the horizon. Television networks that once vied for his appearances kept their distance, worried about public backlash. Although he could still sell concert tickets and release music, the days when Wang Leehom symbolized a near-perfect blend of artistry, education, and moral character were clearly over. Throughout 2024 and into 2025, Wang continued working quietly on his music, releasing a few singles and making selective appearances. He deliberately kept a low profile, avoiding flashy publicity stunts and focusing instead on slow, steady work. His concerts were smaller and more intimate, aimed at reconnecting with a core fan base rather than dominating the charts. Each performance was a gamble, a test of whether the public was willing to separate the man's mistakes from the artist's contributions. Privately, friends and colleagues described Wang as a changed man. Some said he had become more introspective and less arrogant, qualities that he had reportedly struggled with at the height of his fame. Others noted that he seemed genuinely focused on his children, making every effort to maintain a relationship with them despite the ongoing custody complications. Whether these changes were enough to repair his broader public image remained unclear. Redemption in the public eye requires not just time, but a willingness to engage honestly with past failures, something many felt Wang had only partially achieved. In interviews, Wang tried to strike a tone of humility. He spoke about learning from pain, about understanding the importance of responsibility, both as a father and a public figure. But the shadow of 2021 continued to loom large. In many ways, the scandal had shifted how audiences viewed celebrity culture as a whole. No longer were clean-cut images taken at face value. Fans and media alike had become more skeptical, more aware that carefully curated public personas could mask deep private flaws. For Wang Leehom, the road back was steep and uncertain. He still possessed the musical talent that had made him a star, but the trust he had once enjoyed was far harder to reclaim. Every step forward risked reopening old wounds, and every attempt at renewal carried with it the weight of everything that had come before. In a world that had changed dramatically since he first rose to fame, Wang faced a future where artistic skill alone was no longer enough. Authenticity, accountability, and a genuine willingness to reckon with the past had become the new markers of public respect, and whether Wang could fully meet those demands remained an open and deeply complicated question. Wang Leehom's story is a powerful mix of success, scandal, and survival. His career once defined what it meant to be a global Chinese superstar, but personal mistakes brought consequences no fame could shield him from. While he works to rebuild both his career and reputation, his story remains a cautionary tale about fame, trust, and redemption. Whether he fully recovers or not, his impact on Asian pop culture is undeniable. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the life behind the headlines, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more stories just like this.